I stood in the empty living room where our family photos once hung, my footsteps echoing off bare walls. 3 weeks ago, my parents took my sister Rachel to Hawaii, claiming they could only afford one child's ticket. Now they were driving home from the airport, about to discover that while they were gone, I'd moved out completely. Not just my clothes and personal items. I'd taken every single thing I'd ever bought for this house. Every appliance, every piece of furniture, even the doorbell I'd installed. They had no idea what was coming. The whole mess started 3 weeks earlier during our regular Sunday dinner. I remember it perfectly because Amy, my girlfriend of 2 years, had joined us for the meal. Mom had made her famous pot roast, and everything seemed normal until dessert when she dropped the bomb that would change everything. "So, your father and I have some exciting news," Martha, my mother, announced while serving her apple pie. She was practically glowing with excitement, her gray hair freshly styled from her weekly salon appointment. "We're going to Hawaii." I smiled, genuinely happy for them. My parents rarely took vacations, and at 58 and 60 respectively, they deserved some relaxation. "That's great, Mom. When are you planning to go?" "I'll need to request time off from work." That's when the atmosphere shifted. My father, Paul, cleared his throat in that way he always did before delivering bad news. He adjusted his reading glasses and wouldn't quite meet my eyes. "Well, son, about that. We've been looking at the finances, and with the economy the way it is, we can only afford to take one of you kids." The words hung in the air like a bad smell. Amy's hand found mine under the table, squeezing gently. I could feel her tense beside me. "One of us?" I repeated slowly, trying to process what I was hearing. My sister Rachel, 22 years old, and sprawled in her chair like a satisfied cat, didn't even look up from her phone. She was already smiling, her blonde highlighted hair falling over her face as she typed rapidly. "Rachel needs this trip more," Mom explained quickly, her words tumbling out in a rush. "She's been so stressed with her community college classes. You understand, don't you, Greg? You're so strong and capable." I sat there, stunned into silence. Strong and capable. Those words felt like a slap across the face. I'd been working 60 hours a week at the warehouse where I'd climbed my way up to supervisor. Every single month, for the past 5 years, I'd handed over $800 in rent to live in my childhood bedroom. Meanwhile, Rachel hadn't worked in 6 months, not since she quit her part-time job at the mall because it was draining her creative energy. "When is this trip?" I managed to ask. My voice surprisingly steady. "Next week." Rachel finally looked up, her blue eyes sparkling with excitement. 2 whole weeks in paradise. I already have my Instagram post planned out. "Next week?" I couldn't hide my disbelief. "You already booked it?" Dad nodded, still avoiding my gaze. "The tickets were on sale. We had to move fast, but I need new clothes for the trip," Rachel whined, turning to our mother with practiced puppy dog eyes. "You can't expect me to go to Hawaii with my current wardrobe." "Of course, sweetheart," Mom cooed. "We'll go shopping tomorrow. There's a sale at Nordstrom." Amy spoke up for the first time, her voice carefully controlled. "Martha, Paul, don't you think this is a bit unfair to Greg? He works so hard, and he pays rent here." The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. My mother's warm expression hardened slightly. "Amy, dear, I know you mean well, but this is a family matter." "Greg is family," Amy shot back, her green eyes flashing. "Or does that only count when rent is due?" "How dare you?" Rachel snapped, sitting up straight for the first time all evening. "You don't know anything about our family dynamics." "I know enough," Amy replied calmly. "I know Greg paid for that TV you're always watching your reality shows on. I know he bought this dining table we're eating at. I know he installed the deck where you do your yoga." "That's enough," my father said, his voice carrying that tone of authority he used when he wanted to end a discussion. "Greg is a grown man. He can handle disappointment. Rachel is still finding her path in life." Finding her path. At 22. While I'd been working since I was 16. "I pay $800 a month to live here," I said quietly. "Rachel pays nothing. How is it that you can't afford a ticket for me?" "That's different," Mom said, her tone suggesting this should be obvious. "You have a good job. You're independent. Rachel needs our support more. Besides," Dad added, "800 is below market rate. You should be grateful we don't charge you $1,500. like a regular apartment would cost. Then why doesn't Rachel pay anything at all? I pressed. Because she's in school, Mom said defensively. Part-time community college, I clarified. 2 classes. Art history and Introduction to Psychology. Education is important, Dad said firmly. We're investing in her future. Rachel smirked at me from across the table, the expression quick but unmistakable. She knew she'd won. She always won. You know what? You're right, I said, standing up from the table. Enjoy your vacation, both of you. All 3 of us. Rachel corrected with a sweet smile that didn't reach her eyes. Greg, don't be dramatic, Mom sighed. You're acting like a child. The irony of that statement, while Rachel sat there at 22, without a job or any responsibility, wasn't lost on me, but I didn't point it out. Instead, I helped clear the table like I always did, while Rachel disappeared to her room to start planning her vacation wardrobe. As Amy and I did the dishes together, she whispered, "You know you don't have to take this, right? You could move in with me. My roommate is moving out next month." I'd been thinking the same thing, but hearing her say it made it real. "We'll talk about it later," I told her, not wanting my parents to overhear. But the seed had been planted, and over the next 2 days, it would grow into something much bigger than just moving out. 2 days after the dinner announcement, I needed my birth certificate for a promotion application at work. They were considering me for operations manager, a position that would boost my salary from $45,000 to $70,000 a year. The documents were kept in my father's home office, a room that was supposedly off limits, but where I'd been allowed to retrieve important papers before. I entered the office on Tuesday afternoon, while Dad was at his accounting job, and Mom was out shopping with Rachel for vacation clothes. The room smelled of his cologne and coffee, with neat stacks of papers covering his oak desk. I opened the filing cabinet where our family documents were stored, searching for the folder marked with my name. That's when I saw it. A bank statement sitting on top of the folders like it had been recently reviewed. The header showed my parents' joint savings account. The balance made me freeze. $43,572. I stood there, staring at the number, feeling like the floor had shifted beneath my feet. They had $43,000 in savings, but couldn't afford a $1,500 plane ticket for me? My hands shaking slightly, I pulled out my phone and took a photo. Then, against my better judgment, I looked deeper. There were more statements. A vacation fund with another $12,000. A checking account with $8,000. Investment accounts worth $35,000. They weren't struggling. They weren't even close to struggling. I found a credit card statement next. Recent charges jumped out at me. Nordstrom, $2,300. Macy's, $800. Lululemon, $600. All dated yesterday. Mom hadn't just taken Rachel shopping for vacation clothes. She'd bought her an entire new wardrobe. There was more. Resort fees for Rachel's stay showed she'd been upgraded to a suite. Premium meal packages had been purchased. Spa treatments were pre-booked. This wasn't just a vacation. It was a luxury experience that probably cost $10,000 for Rachel alone. I sank into my father's leather chair, my mind racing. In the 5 years since I'd turned 18 and started paying rent, I'd given them $48,000. $48,000. Plus, I'd bought the living room furniture set when theirs wore out. $3,200. The kitchen appliances when they broke. $2,500. I'd installed the deck myself, but paid for materials. $1,800. The riding lawnmower. $2,000. The smart doorbell and security system. $800. The list kept growing as I remembered more. The new water heater when theirs failed. The ceiling fans in 3 bedrooms. The upgraded bathroom fixtures. The emergency generator after we lost power for 3 days. All told, I'd probably invested another $15,000 in improvements and replacements. Then I found the email that changed everything. It was printed out, left in the inbox tray. An exchange between my parents from 3 months ago. From Dad, "We need to talk about Greg. He's getting too comfortable here." From Mom, "I agree, but he pays the rent on time and never complains. Maybe we should raise it?" From Dad, "Not yet. We need him to keep thinking he's helping us, but we should push him toward independence soon. Rachel is different though. She's too fragile to pressure." From Mom, "Our reliable workhorse versus our delicate flower. LOL. Greg never even asks where his rent money goes. Meanwhile, Rachel knows exactly how to work us for everything she wants. From Dad. The boy has no idea we own the house outright. Paid it off 3 years ago with my inheritance from Dad. He probably thinks his rent goes toward the mortgage. Reliable workhorse. That's what I was to them. A workhorse who paid rent on a house that was already paid off. I photographed everything. Every statement, every email, every receipt. My phone buzzed with a text from Amy asking how the document search was going. I told her she needed to see what I'd found. I heard a car in the driveway and quickly put everything back, grabbing my birth certificate and leaving the office. Rachel burst through the front door, arms full of shopping bags, Mom trailing behind her. "Greg," Rachel said with fake enthusiasm, "you should see all the cute stuff I got. This bikini was $300, but Mom said I deserve quality things." "That's nice," I managed, my voice neutral. "Don't be jealous," she said, misreading my calm for envy. "Maybe if you weren't so boring, they'd want to take you places too." Mom seemed uncomfortable. "Rachel, that's not nice." "What?" "It's true. Greg's idea of fun is organizing his tool shed. No one wants that on vacation." "Actually," I said, unable to stop myself, my idea of fun would be going somewhere without having to pay for everyone else's way. But I guess that's just me being boring. Rachel rolled her eyes and headed to her room with her bags. Mom lingered, looking at me with something that might have been guilt. "Greg, you understand why we're doing this, right? You're so much stronger than Rachel. You always have been." "I understand perfectly," I told her. And for the first time, I truly did. That evening, I showed Amy everything I'd photographed. We sat in her apartment, going through each document on her laptop where we'd uploaded them. "They've been using you," she said, her voice tight with anger. "This is financial abuse, Greg." "It's more than that," I said. "Look at this." I showed her something else I'd found. 3 credit card statements from last year, all showing charges from Las Vegas hotels and casinos. The dates matched up with weekends when my parents had told me they were visiting Mom's sick sister in Phoenix. They took Rachel to Vegas? Multiple times? While telling me they couldn't afford to help with my car repairs, I said bitterly, I had to take extra shifts to pay for a new transmission. Amy pulled up Rachel's Instagram on her phone. Sure enough, there were posts from Las Vegas last year. Pictures of her at casino pools, expensive dinners, shows. The captions were vague about who she was with, but now it all made sense. "There's something else weird," Amy said, scrolling through. "Look at these comments from her friends." I read them. "Your parents are so cool. Wish my mom and dad were that generous. Living your best life on someone else's dime. Teach me your ways." That last comment had a response from Rachel. "It's all about knowing your worth, and making sure others know it too. Some people are meant to work. Others are meant to live." The casual cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. My own sister saw me as someone meant to work so she could live. That evening, I went home with the evidence burning a hole in my phone. Amy came with me for moral support. I found my parents in the living room, watching TV, on the 65-inch screen I'd bought them last Christmas. Rachel was there too, painting her nails on the coffee table I'd purchased. "We need to talk," I said, standing in front of the TV. "Greg, we're watching our show," Dad protested. I pulled up the photos on my phone and cast them to the TV, the bank statement filling the screen. The room went silent. "You have over $40,000 in savings," I said calmly. "Plus a vacation fund. Plus investments. You could afford 100 plane tickets." Mom went pale. Dad's face turned red. Rachel jumped up, nail polish bottle clattering to the floor. "You went through Dad's office?" she screeched. "That's invasion of privacy. Like taking money from your son while pretending to be broke, isn't?" Amy shot back. "You need to leave," Dad told Amy, standing up. "This is a family matter." "She stays," I said firmly. "And we're going to discuss this $48,000 I've paid you in rent for a house that's been paid off for 3 years. The silence stretched out, heavy and suffocating. "How dare you go through my private documents?" Dad finally said, his voice low and dangerous. "How dare you lie to me for years?" I countered. "Reliable workhorse. That's what you called me, in your emails." Mom gasped. "You read our emails?" The printed ones you left out? Yes. The ones where you laugh about how I never complain while Rachel knows how to work you for everything? That was taken out of context, Mom said weakly. What context makes that okay? I demanded. What context makes it fine to take Rachel on Vegas trips while telling me you're visiting sick relatives? Rachel's face went white. You know about Vegas? I know about everything. The suite upgrade, the spa treatments, the $10,000 vacation you're about to take while I work 60-hour weeks. You should be grateful. We even let you stay here. Dad exploded, his composure finally cracking. $800 is nothing. Market rate would be $1,500. Amy pulled out her phone and hit record. Something I didn't notice at the time, but would be grateful for later. Market rate for what? I asked. A single room in a paid-off house? While Rachel lives here for free? That's different, Mom cried. Rachel is finding herself. She's 22, I shouted, finally losing my cool. I was working at 16. I've been paying rent since I was 18. When does she start contributing? When she's ready, Mom said defensively. Not everyone is as capable as you, Greg. You mean not everyone is as willing to be used? Amy said. Stop it, Rachel screamed. You're trying to ruin my happiness. This is my vacation. I deserve this. Why? I asked her directly. Why do you deserve a $10,000 vacation while I can't even get help fixing my car? Because you're. She started, then stopped. Because I'm what, Rachel? The workhorse? The one meant to work while you're meant to live? Her face went even paler. You saw my Instagram? Everyone can see your Instagram, including our relatives who've been told I don't contribute enough to the household. What relatives? Dad asked sharply. I smiled grimly. The ones you've been borrowing money from. Should I call Uncle Marcus? Aunt Linda? Maybe Cousin Jeffrey? Ask them about the loans you needed because your son doesn't help enough? The room erupted. Mom started crying. Dad started yelling about privacy and respect. Rachel screamed that I was jealous and trying to destroy the family. You know what? I said, my voice cutting through the chaos. You're right. I am destroying something. I'm destroying this fiction where I'm the failure living in your basement. Enjoy your vacation. All three of you. Don't you dare cause any drama while we're gone, Dad warned, his finger pointed at me. I won't cause any drama at all, I said calmly. I promise. Rachel sneered. Good. Know your place. Oh, I know my place, I said. It's not here. I turned and walked out with Amy, ignoring my mother's calls to come back and talk about this reasonably. There was nothing reasonable about any of it. In the car, Amy showed me she'd recorded the whole argument. Just in case you need it, she said. I'm going to need more than that, I told her. Can you get your brother to help me with his truck next week? What are you planning? I'm taking everything that's mine. Every single thing I've paid for in that house. Amy smiled. Tom would love to help with that. He never liked how your parents treated you. We spent the rest of the evening at Amy's apartment making lists. I had receipts for everything, a habit Dad had actually taught me for tax purposes. Ironic that his lesson would come back to bite him. The next morning, I took vacation time from work, scheduling it for the entire week after my family left for Hawaii. My supervisor was surprised, as I rarely took time off. Finally doing something for yourself? He asked. You could say that, I replied. I'm moving. About time, he said. That family of yours doesn't deserve you. Even my boss knew. Everyone knew except me, apparently. But that was about to change. The morning after my family left for their Hawaiian vacation, I stood in the garage at 6 a.m. with Amy and her brother Tom. We had his pickup truck, a rental moving van, and a plan. I'd taken the entire week off work, my first real vacation in 2 years. Though, this wasn't exactly relaxing. You sure about this? Tom asked, though he was already grinning. At 28, he worked construction and had the muscles to prove it. He'd never liked my parents after hearing how they treated me. Never been more sure of anything, I said, holding up my folder of receipts. Everything on this list comes with us. We started with the living room. The 65-inch TV I'd bought last Christmas came down first, carefully packed into its original box I'd saved in the garage. The entire furniture set followed. Leather sectional sofa, matching love seat, 2 recliners, coffee table, end tables, and entertainment center. $3,200 worth of furniture, that I'd bought when their old set literally fell apart. "This stuff is nice," Tom whistled. "Why did you buy such expensive furniture for them?" "Because I thought I was helping my struggling parents," I said bitterly. Turns out they had more money than I did. Next came the kitchen. The refrigerator I'd replaced when theirs died 2 years ago. A $2,500 smart model with all the features Mom had wanted. The dishwasher I'd installed myself. The microwave, the coffee maker, the stand mixer, the air fryer, even the knife set and cutting boards I'd bought. "Greg, they won't have any way to cook," Amy pointed out. "They have $43,000 in savings. They can figure it out." As we worked, memories kept surfacing. Mom asking me to buy the refrigerator because Dad's hours got cut at work, which I now knew was a lie. Rachel complaining that the old TV was literally unwatchable until I caved and bought the new one. Dad mentioning the house insurance had gone up, hinting they needed more rent money, which I'd given without question. The washer and dryer were next. High-efficiency models I'd bought 18 months ago when the old one stopped working. The riding lawnmower from the shed. The snowblower. The power tools I'd used to build the deck and fix things around the house. "Jesus, Greg," Tom muttered, as we loaded the generator I'd bought after a 3-day power outage. "You practically renovated this place." He wasn't wrong. As I removed the smart doorbell system, the security cameras, and the upgraded thermostat, I realized how much of this house's functionality depended on my purchases. The ceiling fans in 3 bedrooms. The bathroom fixtures I'd upgraded. The garage door opener I'd installed after theirs broke. "Hold up," Tom said around noon. "Someone's coming." It was Mrs. Patterson from next door, 82 years old, and sharp as a tack. She walked over with her small dog, looking concerned. "Greg, is everything all right? I thought someone was robbing the place." "Hi, Mrs. Patterson," I said, wiping sweat from my forehead. "No robbery. I'm just moving out and taking my belongings with me." Her eyes widened. "Your belongings? But this is all the furniture." "Yes, ma'am. Furniture I purchased. I have the receipts right here." I showed her the folder. She adjusted her glasses and examined several receipts, her frown deepening. "But your parents told me you don't contribute to the household," she said slowly. "They said you're living in their basement rent-free, that they're too kind-hearted to kick you out." The words hit me like a slap. They said what? "Oh yes, they tell everyone on the street. How difficult it is having an adult child who won't launch. Your mother was just complaining last week at the neighborhood book club about how you refuse to help with expenses." Amy made a sound of disgust. "He pays $800 a month in rent, plus bought all this stuff." Mrs. Patterson's expression shifted from concern to anger. $800 a month? Plus all this? She gestured at the truck loaded with appliances. "Those lying. Well, I won't say what I'm thinking. Greg, honey, do you need any help? I have security cameras that show your driveway. If they try to claim you stole anything, I have proof you're moving your own belongings." "That would be amazing, Mrs. Patterson. Thank you." "It's the least I can do. You shoveled my driveway all winter and never let me pay you. Your parents, on the other hand, charged me $50 to water my plants when I visited my daughter." She went home and returned with a USB drive of security footage, plus a written statement about what she witnessed. "You know, the other neighbors will be interested to hear the truth," she said with a gleam in her eye. As we continued loading, more neighbors stopped by. Each had a similar story. My parents had painted me as a freeloading failure while simultaneously borrowing money, accepting favors, and acting like martyrs for supporting me. Mr. Chen from across the street mentioned that my dad had borrowed his power tools last month, claiming I'd refused to help with house repairs. "But these are your tools he borrowed, aren't they?" he asked, pointing at my loaded collection. "Every single one," I confirmed. By afternoon, we'd cleared out everything major. That's when I went into Rachel's room to retrieve my bookshelf, a solid oak piece I'd bought for my room but Rachel had borrowed 2 years ago and never returned. As I moved it, something fell out. A pink journal with a lock that had broken. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The entries were illuminating. "Mom and Dad are so easy to manipulate. Just cry a little about anxiety and they'll give me anything. Greg paid for the new TV. I made sure to complain about the old one every day until he caved. He's such a sucker. Convinced Mom I needed a mental health break from work. She bought it completely. 6 months of freedom, while Greg pays for everything like always." Parents are taking me to Vegas again. Told Greg they're visiting Aunt Susan. He actually gave them gas money. I almost felt bad, but then remembered he chose to be the responsible one. Not my fault he's boring. The most recent entry, from the day before they left. Hawaii is going to be amazing. Mom upgraded my suite and booked spa treatments. Greg looked so pathetic when they told him he couldn't come. But someone has to work to keep the house running. That's what older brothers are for, right? I photographed every page and took the journal. She'd written about manipulating our parents for money, faking anxiety attacks, and purposely sabotaging job interviews to stay unemployed. It was a playbook for exploitation. The router and modem were the last electronics to go. I'd been paying for the internet service too, I realized. 3 more things I'd forgotten. The bedroom curtains I'd bought for the whole house when Mom wanted to refresh the look, the kitchen table and chairs I'd purchased when the old set became wobbly, and the living room rug that tied the room together. By 5 p.m., the house looked like it had been stripped. Because it had been. You want to see something funny? Tom asked, pulling up his phone. Rachel's posting from Hawaii. The posts were public. Rachel on the beach with a cocktail that probably cost $20. Living my best life. Some people are meant for greatness, others are meant to pay for it. #blessed, #family vacation, #first class. She really has no shame, Amy muttered. Wait until she sees what she's coming home to, I said. We moved everything into Amy's apartment that evening. Her roommate had already moved out, so there was plenty of space. The furniture fit perfectly, and suddenly her apartment looked like a real home. This is all yours now, she said, wrapping her arms around me. No one can take it from you. That night, I posted my own social media update. A simple photo of me in the new apartment, surrounded by my furniture. The caption read, "Starting fresh in my new home." Amazing what you can accomplish when you stop funding other people's luxury vacations. I didn't mention my family directly, but I didn't have to. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. The first call came from my cousin Marcus at 8 p.m. Greg, what's going on? Did you really move out? I explained the situation briefly. There was a long pause on the other end. Those bastards, he finally said. They told my mom they were struggling financially. She loaned them $5,000 last year because they said you weren't contributing enough. What? I sat down hard on my couch, my actual couch in my new living room. Aunt Linda loaned them money? $5,000. They said they were behind on the mortgage because you lost your job and couldn't pay rent. Marcus, I've never lost my job. I've been steadily employed since high school, and the house has been paid off for 3 years. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then, I'm adding you to a group chat. You need to see this. Within minutes, I was in a family group chat with 8 relatives. Each one had a similar story. Cousin Jeffrey's parents had given $3,000. Uncle Robert had contributed $2,000. Aunt Patricia had sent $2,500. All told, my parents had taken nearly $30,000 from family members while claiming I was a deadbeat who didn't contribute. I shared the bank statements I'd photographed. The chat exploded. They have how much in savings? They took Rachel to Hawaii but borrowed money from us? I can't believe they lied about Greg. We're getting our money back. Every penny. While this drama unfolded, Rachel was posting constantly from Hawaii. Photos of her $500 helicopter tour. Her swimming with dolphins experience. Shopping sprees at luxury boutiques. Each post was like salt in the wound for the relatives who'd been scammed. Then she made a crucial mistake. Drunk on my tastes, she went on a Facebook rant at 11 p.m. Hawaii time. Some people are born to be worker bees, and others are born to be queens. It's not my fault my brother chose to be a worker bee. He should be honored to support his baby sister's happiness. That's what family is for, right? The strong support the weak. Except, I'm not weak. I'm just smart enough to know my worth. Why should I struggle when someone else is willing to do it for me? Greg's always been the responsible one. That's his choice. My choice is to live beautifully. Hashtag, born to shine. Hashtag, family dynamics. She tagged me in it. She actually tagged me. The relatives in the group chat went ballistic. Screenshots were taken. My phone rang again. It was my father's brother, Uncle Jeffrey. Greg, I'm driving over to your new place. We need to talk. He arrived 30 minutes later with his wife, Anne. They looked at my apartment, at all the furniture I'd bought, at the receipts I showed them. "Your parents are going to pay everyone back," Jeffrey said grimly. "Every penny. And if they don't, we're taking them to court." "I have something else you need to see," I said, showing them Rachel's journal entries. Anne read them, her face getting redder with each page. "This little con artist, she's been playing everyone, including your parents," Jeffrey pointed out, "though they chose to enable her." My phone buzzed with more notifications. Rachel's drunk posting had continued. She'd posted a video from a high-end restaurant, waving a receipt showing a $400 dinner. "Thanks to everyone who makes this possible, especially my walking ATM of a brother. Love you, Greg." "She really just called you an ATM," Amy said in disbelief. "Let her keep posting," Jeffrey advised. "She's digging their grave deeper with every word." The next morning, I woke to missed calls from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. Word had spread through the family network. Everyone was furious. The group chat had grown to 15 people, all sharing stories of loans, gifts, and sob stories from my parents. But the real shock came when Marcus's mother, Aunt Linda, revealed something on a video call with the whole group. "I need to tell you all something," she said, looking uncomfortable. "Paul and Martha didn't just borrow money. They've been collecting from Mom's estate too. My grandmother had passed 2 years ago, leaving a modest inheritance to be split among her 4 children. My dad was the executor. They told us the estate was smaller than expected," Linda continued. "But I did some digging. The estate was worth $200,000, not the $100,000 they claimed. They kept the extra $100,000. The explosion of anger through the video call was something to behold. My father had stolen from his own siblings, while acting like the responsible executor. "I'm calling my lawyer," Uncle Robert said immediately. "This is fraud." While the family dealt with this revelation, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was a screenshot from someone at Rachel's community college. She'd posted in a student group, "Living proof that you don't need a job when you have family money. My parents and brother fund everything. Work smart, not hard." The comments were brutal. People calling her a parasite, a leech, a spoiled brat. Someone had found my social media post and connected the dots, sharing it in the comments. The narrative was flipping. Then Amy showed me something that made everything worse. Or better, depending on your perspective. "Look at your mom's Facebook," she said. Mom had posted photos from Hawaii with captions like, "So blessed to be able to take this trip with our baby girl. And sometimes parents have to make tough choices. But seeing Rachel happy makes it all worth it." The comments, which had started supportive, had turned after Rachel's drunken rants were shared. People were calling them out for favoring one child, for taking advantage of me, for lying about their finances. Mrs. Patterson had even commented, "Interesting that you can afford this while telling everyone Greg doesn't contribute to your household. The young man who pays rent and bought all your furniture. Shame on you." By day 3 of their vacation, the situation had exploded beyond family. My workplace had found out, with coworkers expressing outrage on my behalf. My supervisor even called to confirm I was okay, and to hint that the promotion was looking very likely. "You deserve good things, Greg," he said, "and you deserve people who appreciate you." That evening, Amy and I were cooking dinner in our apartment, using my kitchen appliances in our kitchen, when my phone rang. It was my mother. I let it go, to voicemail. Her message was frantic. "Greg, what have you done? Why is everyone messaging us about money? What did you tell them? Your father is having a panic attack. Call me back immediately." I didn't call back. Instead, I opened a beer, sat on my couch, and looked around at my new home. Everything in it was mine. No one could take it, guilt me out of it, or make me feel bad for having it. Rachel posted another video that night. She was clearly drunk again, at a pool bar. "You know what? I don't care what anyone says. I deserve this life. I've been through so much trauma, growing up with a perfect brother who made me look bad just by existing. Do you know how hard that is? To always be compared to St. Greg? So, yeah, I'm taking what I'm owed. Compensation for emotional damage." Someone in the comments wrote, "The only trauma you've experienced is not getting everything you wanted immediately." Another said, "Your brother isn't perfect. He just has a job and pays his bills. The bar is literally on the floor, and you still can't reach it." The best comment, Imagine posting this thinking you're the victim, while drinking cocktails in Hawaii, funded by the brother you're trashing. My phone rang at 6:17 a.m. on Saturday morning. They were back. I didn't answer, but the voicemail my father left was legendary in its fury. I could barely understand him through the screaming, but I caught words like theft, betrayal, police, and lawsuit. 5 minutes later, Mom called. Her voicemail was different, sobbing instead of screaming. "Greg, the house. Everything is gone. We've been robbed. Please come home. We need you." Then Rachel, "You're dead to me. Dead. You ruined everything. I hate you. I hate you." I was expecting the calls, but Amy and I still weren't prepared for the doorbell at 7 a.m. We looked through the peephole to see 2 police officers. I opened the door calmly. "Good morning, officers. How can I help you? Are you Greg Thompson?" The older officer, Officer Daniel Rodriguez, according to his badge, asked. "Yes, sir. Your parents have reported a theft. They claim you've stolen approximately $20,000 worth of property from their home." "I see," I said. "Would you like to come in? I have documentation showing everything I took was my property." The officers exchanged glances and entered. I'd prepared for this possibility, organizing all my receipts in a binder with copies of bank statements showing my payments. Officer Rodriguez reviewed everything carefully while his partner, Officer Kim Williams, took notes. They both started to smile about halfway through. "So, let me get this straight," Officer Rodriguez said. "You moved out of your parents' house and took the belongings you purchased?" "That's correct." "The belongings you have receipts for?" "Yes, sir." "And your parents called the police because their adult son moved out and took his own property?" "That appears to be the case, yes." Officer Williams actually laughed. "Mr. Thompson, this isn't theft. This is a family dispute at best. And honestly, not even that. You're allowed to take your own belongings when you move." "That's what I thought. But I wanted to be cooperative." "We appreciate that. We'll explain the situation to your parents. Congratulations on your new place, by the way. It looks nice." After they left, I texted my mother. "The police have confirmed I committed no crime. I took only what I purchased. Please stop contacting me." But the day was far from over. At 10 a.m., cars started arriving at my parents' house. I wasn't there to see it, but Marcus was kind enough to live stream it for the family group chat. Uncle Jeffrey, Uncle Robert, Aunt Linda, Aunt Patricia, and 6 other relatives all showed up at once. The confrontation was epic. Even from Marcus's phone, I could hear the shouting. My parents had nowhere to sit, no way to offer anyone coffee, no television to distract from the awkwardness. They stood in their empty living room while the family demanded answers. $43,000 in savings. Aunt Linda's voice was clear even through the phone. "You have $43,000, and you took $5,000 from me claiming poverty. That's our retirement," Dad protested. "You're 58, Uncle Robert shot back. "And you stole from Mom's estate." That's when the real fireworks started. Dad tried to deny it, but Jeffrey had brought documentation from his lawyer. The proof was irrefutable. 30 days, Jeffrey announced. "You have 30 days to pay everyone back, or we're filing charges for fraud and taking you to civil court." Mom was sobbing. Dad was red-faced and shaking. And then Rachel made it worse. She stormed into the house, designer sunglasses still on, rolling her luxury luggage behind her. "What are all these people doing here? I need to sleep off my vacation." "Rachel," Aunt Patricia said coldly, "we're here collecting the money your parents stole while funding your lifestyle." "I don't know what you're talking about," Rachel said, but her voice wavered. Marcus pulled up her social media posts on his phone, projecting them to his tablet for everyone to see. Her rants about being a queen while others were worker bees. Her calling me an ATM. Her bragging about not needing to work. "This is who you gave our money to?" Uncle Robert asked my parents. "This ungrateful, entitled brat? Don't you dare talk about my daughter that way," Mom shrieked. "Martha," Aunt Linda said quietly, "she just called your son, who paid your bills for 5 years, a walking ATM, and you're defending her?" Rachel, never one to read the room, made it worse. "Greg chose to pay those bills. No one forced him. He's just jealous because I know how to enjoy life while he's stuck being a wage slave." The silence that followed was deafening. Then Rachel's phone rang. She answered it, and her face went white. What do you mean, declined? Try the other card. What do you mean they're all frozen? Dad cleared his throat. The credit cards are maxed from your vacation. We can't pay them until. Until what? Rachel demanded. Until we can access our savings to pay back the family, Mom whispered. Rachel exploded. You're using my vacation money to pay them? This is insane. Greg probably manipulated you all. He's always been jealous of me. Marcus laughed out loud. Jealous of what? Your complete lack of accomplishment? Your parasite lifestyle? Your delusional social media presence? I'm an influencer, Rachel screamed. You have 300 followers, Marcus replied, and half of them are bots. Amy, who had been texting with Marcus, sent him something. He smiled and pulled it up. Oh, this is interesting. Rachel, did you know your Instagram was public? Because there's some fascinating stuff here. Like this post from last month, where you brag about manipulating your parents into thinking you have anxiety to avoid working. Rachel lunged for his phone, but Jeffrey stopped her. I think we all need to see this. They went through her posts, her journal entries that I'd photographed and shared with Marcus. Her entire con was laid bare for the family to see. You've been playing us, Mom said quietly, staring at Rachel. You've been manipulating us? Everyone manipulates everyone, Rachel shouted. That's how the world works. Greg manipulated you into thinking he was helpful when really he was just buying your love. No, Dad said slowly, and for the first time in my life, I heard real clarity in his voice. Greg never manipulated anyone. He just helped, and we took advantage of that. You're taking his side? Rachel shrieked. After everything I've done for you? What have you done for us? Mom asked, genuinely confused. Rachel opened and closed her mouth several times, unable to answer. I made you happy. I gave you purpose. Someone to take care of. You gave us someone to enable, Dad said quietly. And we lost our son because of it. The live stream ended there, but Marcus called me later with updates. Rachel had stormed to her room and barricaded herself inside. My parents had signed agreements to repay everyone within 30 days. The relatives had left with documentation and promises of legal action if the money didn't appear. That evening, I got a text from Mom. Greg, we need to talk. Please. I responded, there's nothing to talk about. We were wrong. We see that now. Good for you. Please don't cut us off completely. I thought about it for a long time before responding. You cut me off years ago. You just kept me around to pay for it. An hour later, Rachel texted from a different number, apparently having gotten a friend's phone. You destroyed our family. I responded, no, I revealed it. She sent a long rant about how I'd ruined her life, how she'd have to get a job now, how unfair it all was. I blocked the number without reading it all. That night, Amy and I cooked dinner together in our kitchen, with our appliances sitting at our table. The apartment felt like home, in a way my parents' house never had. Any regrets? Amy asked. Only that I didn't do this sooner, I admitted. My phone buzzed with a notification from the family group chat. Aunt Linda had posted, For what it's worth, Greg, we're proud of you. You deserve better than what you got, but you've made something good from it anyway. The other relatives echoed the sentiment. For the first time in years, I felt like I had a real family, just not the one I'd grown up with. 3 months later, my life had transformed completely. The promotion to operations manager had come through, boosting my salary to $70,000 a year. Amy and I had gotten engaged 2 weeks ago, and we were in the process of buying a small starter house using my savings and the money I was no longer wasting on my parents. The family drama had settled into a new reality. My parents had liquidated some of their investments to repay the relatives. They'd had to take out a personal loan to refurnish their house with basic necessities from secondhand stores. Rachel, faced with no other option, had gotten a job at a department store in the mall, the same one where she'd quit because it was beneath her a year ago. I knew all this through the family grapevine, particularly Marcus, who kept me updated despite my requests not to. But when my mother called asking to meet at a coffee shop downtown, something in her voice made me agree. I arrived at the coffee shop 5 minutes early, choosing a corner table where we could talk privately. Mom walked in exactly on time, and I barely recognized her. She looked older, tired, worn down. Her usually perfectly styled hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore no makeup. She sat down across from me, ordering a simple black coffee, when the waitress came by. The woman who used to order elaborate drinks with extra everything now couldn't afford the extras. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "You have 10 minutes, I replied. She nodded, taking a shaky breath. "I need you to know something. We failed you, Greg. Not just recently, but for years. Maybe your whole life." I waited, saying nothing. "When you were little, you were so easy. So responsible. You did your homework without being asked, cleaned your room, helped around the house. Rachel was difficult. Tantrums, demands, constant need for attention. And somewhere along the way, we started taking your easiness for granted." "You mean you started exploiting it?" I corrected. "Yes," she admitted, and the simple acknowledgement surprised me. "We exploited your good nature. Your dad and I, we told ourselves we were being fair, that you were stronger and didn't need as much help. But the truth is, it was just easier to give Rachel what she wanted than to fight with her. And easier to take from me than to be actual parents to her," I added. She flinched but nodded. "You're right. Every time you succeeded on your own, we used it as evidence that you didn't need us. Every time Rachel failed, we used it as evidence that she did. But we had it backwards. You succeeded despite us, not because you didn't need support. And Rachel failed because of us, not despite our help." "Is Dad too proud to admit this?" I asked. "Your father. He knows he was wrong. He's said it to me every day since you left. But yes, he's too proud to face you. Too ashamed, really. Finding out you knew about the paid-off house, about us calling you a workhorse. He hasn't been the same since." "And Rachel?" Mom's face darkened. "Rachel is. Rachel, she's furious about having to work. She blames you for ruining her life. She doesn't see that she ruined it herself. We ruined it by never making her face consequences. She's 22, Mom. It's not too late for her to learn. Maybe not, but she's not interested in learning. She's already trying to find a new way to avoid responsibility. Last week, she told us she's thinking about starting a GoFundMe for her trauma from family betrayal. I actually laughed at that. Of course she is. Greg, Mom said, leaning forward. I'm not asking you to forgive us. I'm not asking you to come back or to have a relationship with us. I know we don't deserve that. I just needed you to know that I see it now. All of it. The manipulation, the favoritism, the financial abuse, and I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. What do you want me to say to that, Mom? Nothing. I don't deserve your forgiveness or your words. I needed to say it. And I needed to give you this. She pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. Inside was a check for $48,000. That's every penny of rent you paid us over 5 years, she said. It's yours. It was always yours. I stared at the check, genuinely shocked. You can't afford this. We took out a second mortgage, she admitted. Your father didn't want to, but I insisted. It's the least we can do. The very least. Mom, don't refuse it, Greg. Please. Let me do this one right thing. Let us give back what we stole. I picked up the check, folding it carefully. Thank you. She stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, you're going to be an amazing husband to Amy, and someday, an amazing father. Because you'll be everything we weren't. After she left, I sat there for a while, processing everything. The check in my pocket felt surreal. With it, Amy and I could put a substantial down payment on our house, start our marriage without debt, build the life we dreamed about. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Rachel. She'd apparently gotten my new number from someone. Heard Mom gave you money. Must be nice being the golden child. I responded one last time. Being the golden child meant paying my own way since 16, funding your lifestyle, and being lied to about our parents' finances. You were the golden child, Rachel. You were just too entitled to see it. I'm starting a blog about toxic families and financial abuse. You'll be the villain, obviously. Good luck with that. She sent more messages, but I blocked her number. Some people never learn, and it wasn't my job to teach her. At Thanksgiving, Amy and I hosted dinner at our new house. We'd closed on it the week before, using the money from my parents as a down payment. Uncle Jeffrey and Aunt Anne came, along with Marcus and his family. Mrs. Patterson from the old neighborhood was there too, having become something of an adopted grandmother to us. "This is beautiful, Greg," Jeffrey said, admiring the house. "You've done well for yourself." "We've done well," I corrected, pulling Amy close. "None of this would have happened without her pushing me to stand up for myself." "Have you heard from them?" Marcus asked carefully. "Mom wrote me a letter last week," I said. "Dad signed it too. They're in therapy, apparently. Both individually and as a couple. And Rachel? Still convinced the world owes her everything. She's living with them, paying the same rent I used to pay, and complaining about it daily on social media. At least she's paying something," Anne pointed out. "Only because they literally can't afford to support her anymore," I said. "The second mortgage, the loans, paying back the family, they're basically broke. Do you feel bad about that?" Mrs. Patterson asked gently. I thought about it. No. I feel sad that it came to this, but I don't feel guilty. They made their choices for years. These are just the consequences. As we sat down to dinner, I looked around the table at my chosen family. People who valued me for who I was, not what I could provide. People who saw my worth beyond my usefulness. "I want to make a toast," I said, raising my glass. "To second chances, even when they come from walking away from the first one. To the family we choose and the family that chooses us back. And to learning that sometimes, the best thing you can do for everyone, including yourself, is to stop enabling dysfunction and start demanding respect." To demanding respect, everyone echoed. Christmas came and went. Amy and I celebrated in our new home, decorating with lights I'd bought myself, for my own house, with my own money. My parents sent a card with a simple message. "Merry Christmas. We love you." I didn't respond, but I didn't throw it away either. On New Year's Eve, as Amy and I watched fireworks from our back deck, she asked, "Any resolutions?" "Just one," I said. "To never forget what I'm worth. To never again let anyone convince me that my value is measured by what I can do for them rather than who I am." "That's a good one," she said, kissing me, as midnight struck. My phone buzzed with a notification. Rachel had posted another rant about how unfair life was, how some people were born lucky while others had to struggle. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd been given everything and appreciated nothing. I'd been given nothing and built everything. I deleted the notification without reading the full post and pulled Amy closer. In 6 months, we'd be married. In a year, we hoped to start a family. Our children would grow up knowing their worth wasn't tied to their usefulness. They'd know love wasn't transactional. They'd know that family meant supporting each other, not enabling dysfunction or exploitation. The greatest lesson I learned from this whole experience wasn't about revenge or justice. It was about self-worth. For years, I'd accepted less than I deserved because I'd been programmed to believe that my needs came last, that my role was to provide, never to receive, that love had to be earned through service. But love, real love, doesn't keep score, it doesn't play favorites, it doesn't exploit or manipulate or take advantage. Real love celebrates your successes, supports your growth, and values you for who you are, not what you can provide. Walking away from my family wasn't about punishing them. It was about finally choosing myself. It was about recognizing that I deserved better and having the courage to demand it. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for everyone involved is to stop participating in dysfunction. My parents learned, too late perhaps, that you can't build one child up by tearing another down. That you can't create success through enabling failure. That when you treat one child as a workhorse and another as a princess, you damage both. Rachel may never learn these lessons. She's still waiting for the world to hand her the life she thinks she deserves. But maybe someday, when she's tired of being angry, tired of blaming everyone else, tired of waiting for rescue, she'll understand what I've known all along. The only person who can save you is yourself. As for me, I saved myself the day I packed up my belongings and walked away. The day I chose my worth over their comfort. The day I decided that being family didn't mean being a financial and emotional dumping ground. Some might say I was harsh, that I should have tried harder to work things out. That family deserves endless chances. But there's a difference between family and relatives. Family shows up for you, celebrates with you, supports you, and loves you unconditionally. Relatives just share your DNA. I found my family. They were waiting for me all along. In Amy's unwavering support, In Mrs. Patterson's grandmotherly care. In my cousin's righteous anger on my behalf. They were waiting for me to value myself enough to accept their love. So here's my question for you. What are you accepting in your life that you know you deserve better than? What dysfunction are you enabling in the name of keeping peace? What are you sacrificing in the hope that someone will finally see your worth? Because here's the truth. They already see it. That's why they're exploiting it. They know exactly how valuable you are. They're just hoping you never figure it out. Don't wait as long as I did. Don't waste years trying to earn something that should be freely given. Don't let anyone convince you that your worth is measured in what you can provide, rather than who you are. You deserve better. And the moment you believe that, really believe it, is the moment everything changes. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've faced similar situations, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. How did you find the courage to walk away? How did you learn to value yourself? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Please like this video if it resonated with you. Subscribe for more stories about overcoming family dysfunction and finding your worth, and share it with someone who needs to hear that they deserve better. Because everyone deserves to be valued for who they are, not what they can provide. Until next time, remember, you're not responsible for other people's happiness at the expense of your own. Choose yourself. You're worth it.